In this video, I want to talk about sitting and standing. A common movement or function that we start to lose as we get older is being able to stand up after sitting in a chair for a while. And one of the reasons is because it takes a lot of power in our legs to be able to stand back up again. Generally speaking, it's harder to stand from a couch or a surface that's lower in height because it's more effort, more energy, more force in order to stand from a lower height, as well as having to come up from a cushiony or soft surface compared to something that's more like a dining table or some sort of chair that you'd sit in with a more hard surface that's usually a little bit taller because tables are not usually very low when you're eating at them. So look around your house, see what kind of chairs and sofas and other seating surfaces you find yourselves on. And when you're practicing this, the progression would be starting with something firm and higher, and then gradually going lower, or even putting like a cushion or something to make the surface softer that you're standing up from. But when you're doing this sit to stand practice, a lot of people start to use their hands to push up in order to help a little bit more. And that can be okay when you're trying to help yourself up a little bit more, but in order to keep your legs strong, reduce the risk of falling, and also to help make sure that your legs have the muscle strength so that we don't end up with aches and pains or soreness or anything like that down the line, or to help recover after having some aches and pains and soreness, a lot of what we will do is practice just this simple sitting and standing from a chair. Now, if this has been challenging for you, we usually start with positioning yourself in such a way that makes it easier. So again, harder surface, a little bit higher up. We want to get our feet under our knees or maybe a little bit further back behind, because this is a lot harder to try to push my body up off of. So knees are going to be directly over toes, and when you stand up, you want your body weight shifting to come forward this way as you come up. So I'll often have people just start rocking here, going from sitting to just lifting your bottom up off the chair from there. What I will usually have people do when I'm working with them in the clinic is make sure that you're engaging through your core. So squeezing, kind of drawing your abdominal muscles in, and then also kind of lifting up, pulling up from your pelvic floor, kind of like you're trying to hold it in from having to take a leak, because sometimes people who have maybe weaker pelvic floors or any sort of urinary incontinence, and when they stand, that's when everything kind of relaxes and comes out. So pulling in, pulling up, and then make sure you don't hold your breath because you don't want to pass out as soon as you stand up. So pull in, pull up, make sure you're breathing, and just shift your weight onto your feet and off of your bottom coming here. And if you can hold this position, this can also be a nice way to start strengthening your hips, legs in these smaller ranges. And then from there, starting to stand up a little bit higher and inching your way up higher and higher and higher to try to get yourself to that full height. Now, if you're one of those individuals who has no problem getting up from this height, just power on up, stand up nice and tall. This is where you want to be progressing to standing from a chair here. If this is still too low, this is still challenging, feel free to put some books, maybe large textbooks or other padding or boosts in order to help raise the height up a little bit more. Sometimes I'll have people do this from a bar stool if it's really challenging coming all the way from here, because our main focus is this weight shift forward in this direction. And you can make this harder even here by putting one foot slightly in front of the other and switching sides, because now the leg that's closer to you is going to have to work harder to stand up. This one's there mostly for balance and support, but it's really this leg that's working harder if you're wanting to train one leg that you know is weaker more than the other in order to stand from there. The key with this is making sure that we're not over exaggerating going forward and nose diving off of the chair, but I haven't really encountered that with anybody yet, because it takes a huge amount of momentum to carry you all that way, and most people end up erring on the side of too little momentum, that they fall back into their chair, as opposed to going too far and too fast going forward that they fall forward. So starting from a dining room chair with a firm surface and then moving to a couch. So you would do this exact same activity from a couch. I usually will have people closer to the side where they've got an armrest. Again, when you're starting out, it's easier to use your hands to help you. If pushing up from the couch is usually too squishy, it's hard to really get a good support. So using an armrest is helpful. If you have armrests on both sides, that's great. Otherwise, try for their stronger side, and then progress using your weaker side to help build up the strength there as well, while you're standing from a couch or something with a more cushioned surface that's underneath you. And then as this gets easier, standing up and sitting down, taking your hand away and being able to just push up from your legs, not using your hands to support you anymore. And in the same way, we can power up if we're ready for it, or just shift our weight forward and off weight our bottom, making sure our knees are over our toes as we come up. You don't want to hang out here for too long, because if you have knee pain, this can cause a lot of stiffness and pressure on your knees. So we just want to hold long enough that we're getting muscle contraction. We're getting used to this weight shifting motion as we power up higher and higher and higher. Now, some people also have issues with, as they go to sit down, they kind of just lose control and they fall back, or they have to use their hands to catch them. So you can also go the opposite direction, where you're slowly sitting back down, controlling as far as you can go, but still be able to power back up from there. And you're experimenting to see, okay, where is that point where I start losing my balance and I'm gonna fall backwards? I'm gonna make sure I don't get to that point before I stand up. So down as far as I can before I feel like I'm gonna fall, and then powering back up. And this can be another way to help build strength into your legs. And then again, the progression could be one foot in front of the other, so that the leg that's closer to you ends up doing more of the work compared to the one that's extended in front of you this way. But this can also get challenging as well. And then if you really wanted to train yourself even harder, you can hold stuff in your hands. A backpack filled with stuff, maybe your grocery bag that's got some cans that are full of food in it, to give some extra weight that you have to then stand up against. Some people will hold, their small dogs, because their dog's already on their lap anyway, and that's kind of a fun way to make sure that you can pick up your dog when you're sitting down. You can carry them wherever you want to go. Some people will do this with their grandkids when they're really, really little to help build the strength, so adding weight on top of that as well. So give these a try. Keep in mind the progression, and as always, be safe with it. If you ever feel like you're imbalanced or you're struggling a little bit too much with this, talk to a physical therapist. Feel free to reach out to me. Talk to your own healthcare provider to see what else you can do to address the specific areas where this is challenging for you. But if you are practicing this regularly outside of just whenever you do sit down and stand up, this can also help, again, reduce your risk for falling, keep your legs strong, and also keep you feeling confident in the way that you move your body and shift your weight. So give it a try. Comment below if you have any questions, and enjoy the rest of your day.